over so that you have your own little video clip.
We're good.
My wife and I share those wireless headphones. I'm really bad about hitting it and like turning it off. So hopefully I didn't do that.
Don't ask me. They just give it to me. They don't make me in charge to turn it on or off. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I'm a therapist, and I'm not sure that AI is ever going to directly take my job. If it tries to, I'd be a little concerned about that. So I'm not sure what kind of information you would get if it's wrong as much as it seems to be whenever I look at stuff. I'm like, no, I don't think you should jump off that bridge. Actually, that seems bad. Yeah. I don't know. It's not good advice. Yeah. Okay. Ready? The expert. Okay, well, thanks for having me, everybody. My name's Hayston Wilson, and I'm here on behalf of Hallujuah Counseling. Just a little bit about me. I'm from the area, grew up just up the road in Mound City, Missouri, as did apparently like people in my family. We keep trying to leave, but we're like a boomerang. We move away for a while, and we all just wind up coming back to Mound City, but Joe Lowcamper just needs to watch over multiple generations of Wilsons living in that community, I guess. So anyway, my wife Katie, she's here. She's from Tarkio, so we're just kind of from the area. Our life is very full and very busy. We have 3 kids under the age of 7, in addition to my 2 nephews that live just up the hill from us, and a couple dogs and a couple cats, and my boys hardly ever wear pants, so it's just kind of a wild time. If you ever drive by our house, maybe just kind of, anyway, be okay. I work with a lot of different people across a lot of different groups in my profession as a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Missouri. Previously, before we started Hallujuah Counseling, my business partner, Courtney Koch, and I, we worked together at the Wellness Center, which is on campus at Northwest Missouri State. So any college student who attends can have access to free counseling services there. I mean, it's not really free. It's covered in the cost of their tuition. That was how the budget for the Wellness Center came to be. But it was a cool thing, and it was a really good experience. And she and I'll get into this a little bit more, but we had kind of talked about like pie in the sky. I guess we thought you're supposed to be older. I don't know how old older is, but older whenever you start your business and branch out. But we knew there was a huge need in our area for mental health services of any kind. We're in a tremendous resource desert for that. And with our angle, having Christian faith as the foundation for that, there was basically nothing in the Maryville area, the Northwest Missouri area, even down to St. Joe, Southwest Iowa, Southeast Nebraska. Like there's really nothing. Maybe a person here or there, but not a ton. So we recognized that there was a need there, and a few years back in 2023, some of it was like right on the heels of COVID and the whole pandemic happening, and the state of Missouri had put together some funding to help local schools come up with some kind of mental health service. And so there was grant funding available. Well, I had a relationship with the counselor and with the principal at Northeast Nottoway, which is a tiny little K-12 school in Ravenwood, Missouri. And they called me and said, hey, I know you're working at Northwest, probably full time, but we received this grant money, and basically we're wanting somebody to come to our school and work directly with students here in our building. And I was like, oh man, that sounds awesome. Because during my internship, I did my master's level internship in Kansas City in Lee Summit at this nonprofit called Peace Partnership. And that's part of what they do. They're entirely funded through their nonprofit, and they will take their providers, go directly to local schools and work with kids right there in school. So there's no insurance. Parents don't have to get their kids out of school to go to their appointments. You can just go there. There's no red tape. You just show up and you help kids. It's awesome. And I always thought, man, I could take this back home someday, and this would work, in our area. So I always thought I would need to have a miracle donor float down and just give me like $250,000 and be like, here, take it and spend it, Hayston. Start your thing and go help all the people. But that didn't happen. But grant money happened, and it wound up being enough that I could leave my job, which was scary, with having young children and a family, and had just purchased a house and all the things. But I really felt strongly that it was what God was calling me to do. And I've always maintained that if you feel like God's calling you to do something, even if it's scary, you just make the leap and you just trust that He'll provide. And that is exactly what happened. So we wound up, Courtney and I left our jobs together at Northwest, which was really hard because honestly, we really liked that job. It wasn't like, oh, we're mad, we're out of here. That wasn't the situation. But it wound up being a good thing. We started with 3 schools, and then we were able to start seeing clients on the private practice side. So that's kind of how Hallujuah Counseling got started. Now, and part of the reason that I'm here this morning is because we've managed to grow, and we have just opened up a location here in St. Joe. We're partnered with Thrive Family Wellness. I guess it's Country Club Village technically, but up the north end of St. Joe. And so I brought our provider who's going to be primarily serving and overseeing all our St. Joe area operation for the time, Erica Vogel. She's sitting up there. Say hi, Erica. And the schools that she currently serves at is Union Star and King City. So she's just up the road a little ways. So our team right now consists of one part-time administrative assistant. We just had a change with that. So the person who had been our administrative assistant for 2 years, Mackenzie, she thinks she has to leave to go get her PhD. So I guess we'll allow it. But my wife, Katie, is our new administrative assistant while she tries to homeschool our kids from home. So bless that woman. She is special. I couldn't do it. We have 2 master's level interns right now, 3 provisionally licensed providers, including Erica, and then the 2 people in the front of that picture, myself and my business partner, Courtney, are fully licensed. All of our providers work with kids starting at age 6 up through the lifespan. I think my youngest client I have right now is 6, and my oldest is 85. So see people all across the age span. Some of our providers offer marriage and family counseling. Courtney and myself, and soon to be another provider, are in network with some insurances like Aetna, Cigna, United, Providence. I can't remember. There's a couple other ones that hardly anybody around here seems to have. So those are the main ones for the time being. I talked about that a little bit already. That was our ribbon cutting. The first day I saw a client at Hallujuah Counseling at our office was July 17th of 2023, but obviously that picture was for our ribbon cutting, happened a little later than that. That was not apocalyptic. That was just like sometime in December. Yeah, like I said, we recognized there was a huge need in our community, and we're very proud of the work that we do with our local schools, where we go directly to the schools, the sexual and domestic violence groups that we work with, our churches, our first responders that we serve. We have a lot of tentacles in a lot of different areas, just trying to be helpful to as many people as we can be. Yeah, I talked about the ages of people that we see already. Sorry, I've made this presentation. I get ahead of myself anyways. I could be wrong about this, but I have never felt like our goal was just exponential growth into the stratosphere forever. I mean, I'm local. My heart beats for rural Northwest Missouri and the surrounding communities. I want to help people right here, but I just want to be able to do that as effectively as possible. There's a lot of need just right here. So I've never felt like we're supposed to be the Christian version of BetterHelp or something like that. I think that I want our impact to stay very personal. I want to just be able to help as many people and make, as systemic of an impact in as many communities as possible. And so I hope that that's reflected in the ways we're trying to grow and the way that we operate. So it's really a blessing to be able to start hopefully working our way a little bit further south and into the St. Joe area. Just kind of some economics and figures. My business partner, Courtney, is the one who handles most of this, and that's why we work well together. I like to come do the presentations and meet all the people, and she does not at all, but my eyes gloss over whenever I start looking at informed consent documents and spreadsheets and Excel and all of that. So anyway, I tried to come up with at least a couple things just to kind of give everybody a picture of what Hallujuah counseling looks like at the moment. So in 2025, we started in 2023 with those 3 schools. This previous academic year, we are now in 10, which is really cool. The number of students that we saw during the school year last year was 131 total students, and total school sessions, 1,523. But kind of projecting out on the private practice side, this year our team's growing. We're seeing more clients, so it seems like, at least in terms of our impact, that's definitely growing in a good direction. Our revenue streams come from several different places. About half of the business that we have comes from our school contracts. Honestly, it's a blessing because we do lose some business here and there over just like no-shows and late cancellations, and you have a full day scheduled, and it's just that one weird day where suddenly everybody calls and somebody had an emergency procedure or whatever. So it's nice to have the school contracts, even though the school days are kind of exhausting, but it's nice to have the school contracts from our providers, family and well-being standpoint, because it's just set, predictable, fixed income throughout the year, and that's pretty helpful. So I think we're probably going to be it's still buffing out a little bit, but it looks like we're going to have 9 schools for this upcoming year, which will be a little bit less revenue on that side, but our private practice gross revenue should increase a little bit. The main problems and challenges that we're facing right now in our schools, pretty much all of our school contracts, save for 1 or 2 here or there, have been at least 50% grant funded up to this point. Most of the schools we're in, they're small, they're rural, they don't have big budgets. But then the flip side of that is, because they're small and rural, we can actually make a decent sized impact on all of the students that are there. I mean, if there's 20 kids in each class, K through 12, well, most of the students there, like at Northeast Nottoway, I've been there for 3 years now. For them, like working on their mental health and understanding that that's an important aspect of their wellness, they don't care. Like, they're like, oh, you get to go see Mr. Wilson? Like, it's exciting for them. They get out of class. They just are going to come work on a couple things and talk about how they're feeling and working on it. We might go shoot hoops in the gym for 5 minutes. Like, they respond very well to it. And my hope is that over, the course of 20 years, they're not scared to work on that, and the stigma has decreased significantly. So we really want to push for sustainability in schools, but most of our funding streams have been 1 year. We've had to continuously find another grant lily pad to just jump to and jump to and jump to. And now we're still kind of in that situation. Most of our schools are able to fund a little bit, but obviously the more that we can be there in the schools, the better. So we've applied for a couple grants ourselves. We've had some good help with that, but that's something that we're still trying to continue working on. Growing our practice with limited space, low overhead is the name of the game for us. So we've filled our office in Maryville, and we just don't have enough to afford, really big premier office space kind of things. Our landlords in Maryville are great. They definitely don't charge us an arm and a leg. Finding providers that are aligned with us from an ideal standpoint, it's got to be a very special and specific person. I mean, up to this point, we haven't ever put out, just random hiring applications on Indeed, with us just being Christian faith-based, and then obviously just managing burnout. So our goals right now, definitely want to continue to expand our reach in Northwest Missouri as a rural focused practice, sustain the partnerships we have with counseling in schools, and maintain a consistent client base to hopefully be able to keep the cost to access our services as low for people as possible. Like I said, we try to be in network with what insurances we can be. We offer a sliding scale based on combined household income. Some churches sometimes just give us money and are like, here, use this to help people. But, even that can be kind of expensive. The lowest rate on our sliding scale for self-pay is $80 a session. And I wish we could make it lower than that. We just have to set our margin somewhere. It's quite a bit more affordable than what what industry standard is in more major metropolitan areas, but it can still be kind of a challenge. Our new location is there, like I said, in St. Joe at Thrive Family Wellness, and they were nice enough to put our little logo on the door. So if you have questions, referrals, or just really need anything at all, I mean, I tell people we'll just be here and we'll just try to be helpful to you however we can be. So if you have any questions, especially if it's somebody that's kind of local around here, there's Erica's contact info. You can always, of course, reach out to me as well. We like to, if you have events or have any need for a mental health expert to come and do a presentation on a topic, we like to do that stuff. We like to do public events, and we also like to take silly, awkward JCPenney family Christmas card stuff at Christmas. My father-in-law, my wife's dad, he is the best Santa Claus ever, and the haters will say that middle one is AI generated, but no, it's my father-in-law in his Santa costume doing therapy with me for our marketing Christmas cards we sent out last year. So it was pretty fun. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of kids that definitely need help for a number of reasons. My wife was a teacher in kindergarten, so what she sees from Title I school, unfortunately, a lot of parents don't really have parenting skills.
True.
And so how do you address the root issue of why these kids are so struggling as much as they are, some of the trauma that they've been through?
Yeah. I wish that I had a singular, concise, silver bullet answer that just magically fixes that, but that doesn't exist. There's usually many different aspects that are contributing to the problem, to somebody's wellness. So what I try to do and what I find to be the most effective in treatment with a student is I try to get all the important people in their life where we've identified their goals. Because like you said, a lot of the time, the kid's actually fine, or they would be fine if they just weren't in such a difficult situation. They're 6, they're just responding to their environment. They're not thinking that deeply about something. So it's funny, sometimes the kiddo will be my client, but who I'm working with is the parents. The parents, sometimes, I'm not playing games, it's just they don't always realize that actively. So I try to sit everybody down at the beginning if I like doing a new student intake, and I'll meet with the parents and I'll just kind of give them my little spiel about how this goes pretty well if we're all in the boat paddling the same direction. Maybe it's not a complete waste of time, because at least the kids still might have a little bit of an outlet, and hopefully if I've done nothing else, they've at least got some trusted adult in their life. But it's much slower and not much progress is made if we've all got different goals. So then family counseling might be appropriate depending on the situation. So every situation's different too. Yeah.
So, mental health used to be something that you just didn't talk about.
Right.
It was just it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
People ignored it. What are you finding when things change? It seems like it's way more acceptable. Are the kids more open to it now, to admitting, hey, I need some help here?
Yes, I think so. Again, every kid's different. Perhaps working in a different area, the students might typically respond differently to that. I've also seen a little bit of what I would call an overcorrection. I had one of my mentors told me one time that some people gain their significance in life by having a significant problem. And some students trying to fit in, trying to find their place, whatever, they're the unhinged kid, or they're the kid with the bad mental health, or they have been able to use their mental health to like get out of things that they don't want to do. And again, I'm not mad at the kid. They're just trying to cope, but you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes like there's a healthy middle ground between just perpetual avoidance and just doing the good old Midwestern thing where we just don't talk about our feelings and just drink Busch Light till we just absolutely ruin our liver. And like just emoting constantly and just wallowing and like not processing through difficult things that have happened with the goal of it not affecting your present anymore. I try to help people find that healthy balance with those things. Yeah. Yeah.
So since you are like Christian based
Mhm.
and going into schools, do you get pushback? Like how are you getting in these public schools being Christian based?
That's a good question. I mean, we've been working on how to do that skillfully in a way that people understand. Let me just say it like this. I think most of our schools, they want somebody that they can trust, and they know because even if they don't perfectly align with us, they do know that we're at least values based, and they don't want people coming into school that are gonna tell their kids some nonsense or like lie to them or those kinds of things. So I think that actually has helped us in some of those cases, but obviously you have to be tactful in your approaches. And I joke that I don't just throw Bibles at people whenever they walk in, but I mean, I worked at the wellness center on campus at, Northwest Missouri State for 3 years, where you're just randomly assigned whatever student from whatever background with, whatever worldview they come into it with. And so I feel like generally the things that we all care and want for is, connection and belonging and somebody that you can trust. And usually if you work with people long enough, their guard is down and you can engage in those conversations when they're ready and if they choose that are hopefully helpful to them. Because I want people to be able to explore, what they're thinking and arrive at their own conclusion about why they believe what they believe. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I have two questions.
Sure.
Speaking of children, first one I know is, do you take medication?
No.
Okay. And then the second one is, when you're going to schools, are the teachers like suggesting like one-on-ones with students, or are you guys going into classrooms and you're talking to every single kid in that classroom, maybe like mini sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and then for a kid that's struggling a little bit more, like longer sessions, or is just the kids kind of in need?
So typically, the way that we've done it is the admin and the school counselors are who make the recommendations on what kiddos to see. And then if we can just get parent consent, those are the kiddos that we pull out of class. With that being said, I've learned this. Each school, just because it's a school and roughly the same size, it's basically like doing business with 10 completely different businesses with different philosophies. I mean, what's true in one school might not necessarily be true in another. And the provider that serves one school is going to have a different philosophy. So some of our providers love doing groups. So they might do more groups like that. I like going into each classroom, at least when I can, here and there, just so if a student ever does have a need, it's not like they're seeing me for the first time. So I guess it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Do these schools also have counselors still, and you work with them?
Yes.
Or are you their counselor?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They still have school counselors, and some schools are even lucky enough to have like myself, a licensed professional counselor, a school social worker, like from ACEs or something like that, and a school counselor. But for those of you who are familiar with like what school counselors day to day looks like, I think many of them think it's going to be a lot of working directly with kids, and then what you wind up doing a lot of the time is getting everybody enrolled for next year and setting schedules and talking about class changes and making sure that some random, junior has their textbook for their dual credit class. And then, all the admin's out of the building today. I guess I'm just the acting admin today. So a lot of extra stuff. Plus I got to plan prom somehow. How is that my job? So anyway, I think it's very helpful to them that we can take some of the more direct like counseling role. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know even in all the economic development discussions and roundtables, mental health is the number one issue, especially for the rural communities.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see this to 10 years for you? I know funding's been cut from grants, state level,
Mhm.
all of that.
Mhm.
How do you see this whole topic in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think what you can see from a state level that what we pumped all this money out to fund mental health and leave it to state and national funding to be like, well, we're going to throw a whole bunch of money at it for 1 year with absolutely no plan for how we're going to like sustain this over time. So I feel like we got, and we knew what we were getting ourselves into with that as a potential, but it's just like, wow, we didn't fix everybody's mental health in 1 year. Doggone it, we were so close, you know? So what we're trying to do is figure out how to gain funding ourselves and be able to control that ourselves. So like just one of the things that we've tried for this year, we know there was enough funding left over to fund half of what we charge our schools for the year for this 2026-2027 school year. So most of our schools were able to come up with like their half basically. So for the most part, we're covered for this year. So my business partner, Courtney, has been working on writing grants herself, which is not something she's ever done before, but we're just applying for different grants ourselves. So like I said, I'm still open to the miracle investor floating down and just giving us $200,000. But ideally, if we could figure out a way to, between what the schools are willing to contribute or can contribute as their budgets continue to be cut, plus having some other like nonprofit type funding things, I think maybe between the two of those, we could get a little more sustainability moving forward. So that's our hope. Yeah.
Okay, as a parent, like with kids, what have you noticed? I know some of it is environmental, like their home life or whatever. But is there anything else as a parent that we could be doing as like social media or things like that that you have seen a trend that it seems to be a high rise of?
Yeah. Again, not a singular answer to that because a lot of things in our homes are systems and you can always analyze how everything's going. But just since you brought up social media, I've seen this with my own children, honestly, and I've seen this with a lot of kids. It's not, I mean, there's legislation right now about, hey, like, we know that this is really bad for kids and we're just giving it to them. And then we're like, I don't know why they're so anxious and I don't know why they're so depressed all the time. But I think not all screen time, not all media is created equal. Like if my kids sit down and they watch Beauty and the Beast for an hour and a half on Disney and there's a character introduction and a plot and some drama and then Gaston falls off the roof or whatever and then some music and then a resolution, that's not the same as them just binging those high dopamine, like 30-second to 2-minute, like basically reels, like over and over and over and over again. Like they turn into little like red dye 40 monsters whenever they've had seriously more than like 5 minutes of that. So I think that if we can limit certain types of social media and really put our emphasis there and teach our kids, like, like you talked about with AI, it's not going anywhere. Technology is not going anywhere. But if we can really work on, as parents, grandparents, family members, figuring out how can we skillfully teach these concepts to our kids in a way that is developmentally appropriate, then I think they'll be okay. Yeah.
I just want to jump off of what you said. I saw TikTok recently that asked that exact question. And the guy said that there's two options. Either you don't allow them on it at all, which is kind of impossible in the day and age that we're living in. But the second option is you build their self-esteem and their confidence. That's the only way, really, to help them navigate that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as funding is concerned, you talk to different companies as far as their EAP programs. There's a lot of concepts. Obviously, that's what EAP is for.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of we've tried with a few EAP things. For us as providers, they're a lot of work usually on our end to have to mess with for like 2 to 6 sessions oftentimes. And then you have to switch people over after that if, their issue isn't solved. Plus, EAPs only cover certain types of things and certain types of counseling. And sometimes we have to do a bunch of administrative work, not get paid from those sessions for, 120 days or something like that, and wait on them to reimburse just to get paid for like 2 sessions. So when we started out, we tried to get on with like Kawasaki and Nucor and some of those different places that are big employers that offer EAPs in the Maryville community. And the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze with it. Plus we were putting more on our client because they were having to go, maybe if they were concerned about stigma or whatever, like out themselves to their HR people and tell them like what's going on. So anyway, if they were a little smoother, then that would be better. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
When I was in the restaurant industry, most of my staff was 16 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
And back when our kids were younger, I was like, what's the right age to get them a cell phone? What's the right age, for social media?
Mm-hmm.
And there was just an overwhelming, we wish we didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every one of my kids would be like, I wish I didn't have social media. I just do it because it's there.
Yep.
You still see kids like wishing there was some guardrails on it.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's like the push-pull between parents and kids, right? Like kids think that they're ready for more freedom and responsibility than what they're actually ready for, till then they get it, and then they're like crushed by the weight, and then parents who are like, no, like my job is to protect you, your safety, all of that. You're not ready for anything. You'll never leave my little bubble, right? So it's hard because which of those agendas are bad? Neither of them. Like a kid desiring more responsibility, that's a good thing. Parents wanting to protect their kids, that's a good thing. But again, there's got to be like some line between it. And I do see kids that are like, well, I wanted a job so bad, and then I spent my whole summer like roofing with my dad, and it's horrible, and now I don't like it at all, and I wish that I would have just gone out for football or whatever. So yeah, I see that with cell phones and technology and social media and all that. And when I worked at Northwest with drinking, everybody wants to get into the bars and like party, and then by the time they're 22, they're just like, ugh, like I'm going to bed. Yeah, yes.
You guys allow for video sessions?
Yeah, so that is one way that honestly, I don't know that we'd be able to take any insurance because their documentation requirements are so time consuming that if we didn't use AI to basically help us do our documentation for us, and like record the session notes and then utilize it, I don't know that we'd be able to do that. So I don't love that it's like recording, but then I'm also kind of like, they already know everything about you anyway. So yeah. Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure our entrepreneurs will